that is not for a tornado warning. That is for winds of 70 miles per hour or greater. A lot of counties will sound their tornado sirens for winds greater than 70 miles an hour. Again, it doesn't mean there's a tornado. We don't have any tornado warnings right now across the area. We just have severe thunderstorm warnings. However, some of these severe thunderstorm warnings are out there because of radar indicated 70 mile per hour winds. We're waiting to see any verified reports to see if there are 70 mile per hour winds reaching the surface. As of right now, I haven't seen any yet. Most of these warnings are still radar indicated, but that's where that's where you come in. If you happen to have a way to measure wind speed, and if you happen to see a certain size hail, we appreciate the reports. That helps us to monitor how things are going real time, so then that way we can warn people downstream of what may be coming their way. So let's take a more in-depth look at what's going on across our area right now. We have this large severe thunderstorm warning encompassing all of Dodge County, most of Olmsted County at this point. It looks like it was just extended here and down into, it looks like we just had our power flicker here at the station. We are seeing some very strong winds from our tower cam right now. The cameras are moving back and forth quite vigorously. So we are seeing those strong winds reach here in Rochester as well. So folks in the Rochester area, there are some strong winds on the way. Now taking a look at these warnings again down to Mower County, this is extending further east as well as this powerful line of thunderstorms that has a history of producing very strong winds rolls through our area. This warning is for winds of up to 70 miles per hour. Again, this is radar indicated. This isn't confirmed. It doesn't mean it's definitely happening, but that also doesn't mean that it's not happening. They are confident enough that it's a possibility to issue a warning on it, so we should assume that there are 70 mile per hour winds with this storm as it passes through Dodge County. You can hear the sirens sounding outside the station right now. That is for the 70 mile per hour winds that are being warned for across Olmsted County. Taking a look further to the southwest, this includes Blooming Prairie. You're under the gun right now. Sargent, you're seeing some of those, likely starting to see those gusty winds move through. It's approaching the Austin area in about 5 minutes. Within the next 5 minutes, you are going to see very strong wind gusts begin. You can very subtly see this light green line protruding ahead of those storms. That's what we call the outflow boundary. That is where all of the air that's descending from the storm hits the ground, it spreads out, and it outpaces those storms as they advance whatever direction they're progressing, and that's where the winds really start to kick in. So you are going to be seeing some very gusty winds in Austin relatively soon as well, but that's not the whole story. We also have this large complex of thunderstorms racing across northern Iowa right now, north central Iowa, large polygons for severe thunderstorm warnings associated with this bow echo. And this is a classic textbook bow echo that we are tracking across north central Iowa right now. Notice very dark reds, even some pinks indicating some very heavy rainfall rates. There's some very heavy wind associated with this. This storm is warned for at least 80 mile per hour winds that have been observed. You can also notice that this little circulation right here, we call this a bookend vortex. When you see this type of signature on radar, it means that there are very likely some strong winds associated with them. Now, if we zoom in on this storm in particular as it approaches Kossuth County, we are seeing radar indicated winds of 80 miles per hour. Previously, they were confirmed. So this storm has a history of producing winds that large or that strong. Hail size up to 1 inch. We've seen that increase slightly. I just heard our producer talk about heavy lightning, potentially heavy winds from one of our MnDOT cameras, and lots of rain falling across that area as well. There is going to be some very heavy rainfall rates with these storms. We could see easily 1 to 2 inches as these storms pass through. We're, again, very heavy rainfall rates, very bright lightning. You're going to see a lot of that too. Here in Rochester, if you stepped outside, you probably saw what we call the shelf cloud moving in, which preludes the storm itself. That's part of that outflow boundary I was talking about earlier. Taking a look at velocity. So basically what velocity is, to explain to people who may not have heard of this before, or just to refresh people on what this is an indicator of the motion of air in the atmosphere. It just represents how fast that air is moving and what direction it's moving. And right now what we're seeing is some pretty strong gusts associated with these storms as they roll through. You're noticing these bright greens, even some blues, indicating winds of up to 60 miles per hour across portions of western Olmsted County, over into Dodge County, up to Pine Island. Meteorologist Brandon Marshall was just telling me the sirens were sounding in Zumbrota for 70-mile-per-hour winds as well. So there are some very strong gusts associated with these storms, and they're being picked up on radar. This is why they are warning these storms, just because of this is what they mean when they say radar indicated, is that we are seeing those, the radar is picking up on those strong winds. It's the same deal down near Kossuth County right now, moving into Kossuth County, moving towards Humboldt, that just got done passing through Pocahontas and Emmitsburg. That's that Boeing segment of storms, that is tracking through the area. There's those bright blues and those bright greens yet again. So, and it sounds like the rain is coming down on the studio. It has reached Rochester. So if you're in Rochester right now and you're watching, you're about to see some very heavy wind and very heavy rain. Same within Austin and basically anybody in Olmsted County, Dodge County, you're already seeing it. We have Rachel Mantos standing by in Freeborn County, as I understand it. How are things looking out there, Rachel?
Yeah, Aiden, it is starting to pick up a little bit more out here. We're starting to see the winds definitely come in a lot more. There's a little bit of rain coming down. It's still not super heavy. It's just, I would say, just about a step up above sprinkling at this point. But overall, you know, the storms, they are making their way in. Like I said, with the wind seems to be kind of the biggest difference from when I last checked in with you, as well as, of course, there's just a little bit of rain, but like I said, not too much right now. We have a lot of people here sheltering at the Crossroads Church. There were a few people that were hanging out here just a moment ago watching things pile in. And again, this place is still open for shelter. If you're still needing somewhere safe to go in the area, that's Crossroads Church. You want to get here as soon as you can. Back to you, Aiden.
ABC6.
Let me just put down my water bottle here real quick. All right, so it's good to hear that some people are taking shelter. This is definitely a case where you just want to get inside. You really don't want to be outside in 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, just in case anything is lofted. You don't want to be caught in that. The biggest concern across most of our area right now is the damaging winds. There are some reports of larger hail as well. I'm going to backtrack to, let's take a look at what radar is showing again here. Let me see if my graphics are gonna, there we go, we're stepping on back slowly but surely. All right, let's take a broad look at what the radar looks like. Once again, we have that line of thunderstorms that is sweeping through southeastern Minnesota, moving into Olmsted County, Rochester. Rain coming down really hard here in Rochester now in the studio, moving through Dodge County, moving down to Albert Lea. You can see not as heavy in Albert Lea. You guys are sort of threading the needle between the tail end of this band and then another cell that's firing off, diving into Kossuth County. Kind of interesting. Look at this. This storm is moving southeast. Well, this is moving east. You see this irregular storm motion. That is an indicator that this storm is its own entity entirely, and it is just bulldozing east across northern Iowa. It's what we meteorologists call cold pool dominant. And basically what that means is that you have all of this rain that's falling, like over our heads right now in Rochester, that is dragging air down. And once that air hits the ground, it has nowhere else to go but outward. If environmental conditions are right, the winds that are falling from these storms and hitting the ground and spreading outward, they will continue to fuel additional storm development as it sweeps east. And that is what we are seeing right now. We call that cold pool dominant. That storm is textbook cold pool dominant storm. And that is when you see your very strong winds as well. You have large currents of air being dragged down to the surface, and that's when you can get gusts from 60 to 70, even up to 80 to 90 miles an hour. So that is what we are seeing right now across moving into Kossuth County. Let's take a look right now outside in Rochester, our MnDOT tower cam in Rochester here. You can see it shaking back and forth quite a bit. There is some very heavy rain falling out there, and it is very windy as well. Personally, I would not want to be somebody driving out there right now. You're probably feeling, they're probably feeling their car rock a little bit with some of that wind. You can definitely tell it is very windy there, and it's not just in Rochester. It's in Dodge County. It's down into Mower County as well. Everywhere along this line is seeing some very strong winds, and it looks like, based off of the most recent update, all of Fillmore County up to Winona County, all of Mower County is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Very strong winds are expected, very frequent lightning, heavy rain. I have a tickle on my nose, excuse me, and that is now extended, it looks like, into Hancock County's portion of western Cerro Gordo County, far western Worth County, and into Winnebago County as well. This powerful line of storms, it's coming your way. It has a history of producing winds of up to 80 miles per hour. So what I want everybody to do in the path of these storms is I want you to get inside, find a safe space to be. I would avoid being close to any windows, just on the off chance that some sort of a tree falls and it sends a branch through the window, or you see something that's been lofted by heavy wind and it happens to strike that window and break it. You don't want to be near that window. So what I want you to do is to get inside. I just want you to hunker down, get away from any windows, and just kind of sit and stay there until the storm is passed. That's your best bet. Also have ways to receive warnings and to know when it's out of the area. You'll know when it starts to move out of the area because the wind will start to die down and the rain will start to taper off a little bit. But overall, that tickle on my nose is really bothering me. Sorry, folks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the desk and we're going to take a closer look at some of the warnings that have just been recently issued. And then we'll break all that down here in just a second. I'm going to grab my bottle of water right here. And we are going to take a trip over to the desk and see what we have going on here in terms of updates. So right now what we have is here in Fillmore County, a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. So for the next 40 minutes, 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is radar indicated, and this extends into Winona County. This extends into eastern Olmsted County. This extends over into Wabasha County as well. And then if we cruise back down to Mower County, this includes that entire area as well, and we can definitely see some heavy rain moving in. The tail end of this is in Freeborn County. No severe thunderstorm warnings there. Freeborn County is currently in the clear of any severe weather. You're likely seeing some heavy rain in pockets, but for the most part, the bulk of the heaviest rain and wind in terms of southeastern Minnesota is across Olmsted County, Dodge County, and Mower County. So if we zoom in right now, Blooming Prairie, you are seeing some very heavy rain and wind. Hayfield as well over to Rockdale. Rochester, it's right over us, over to Plainview moving in right now. Areas east of there, the wind and the rain is coming. It will only be a matter of time before you're starting to see some of that heavier rain and wind as well. Now here's what this wind is going to do. It is going to be capable of knocking over tree limbs. There's a very good chance some people are going to lose power, especially if a tree happens to fall on a power line. So I wouldn't be entirely shocked if that were to happen across portions of Rochester and elsewhere. This is why it's important to be inside, because you don't want to be caught outside if, say, a tree decides to fall, or if wind tips over a tree, wind tips over a power line. You definitely don't want to be outside in that, so you want to be seeking shelter. As tempting as I know it is to go outside and record this as it comes in, there's a very beautiful shelf cloud associated with it, and those notifications on to receive warnings as they become available. Having a battery-operated NOAA weather radio, that's very important as well. As these storms roll through. This is something we're going to be dealing with for at least another 40 minutes or so across most of southeastern Minnesota. Now, I want to give plenty of attention to folks down in northern Iowa as well, because they're going to be seeing some very heavy wind and rain here very shortly. We have some severe thunderstorm warned storms racing into Kossuth County right now. Let's take a look at what velocity is showing, and I can only imagine it is going to be showing very light greens, very light blues, and what that indicates is that we are seeing winds of up to 60 miles per hour, at least aloft. Now, here's what I want to caution people with, is that this location, this part of Iowa, does not have the best radar coverage. It's spotty at best. I'm going to pull up our just total velocity, which again, for those of you just tuning in, velocity measures the speed and direction of wind in the atmosphere that the radar beam is hitting. And it shows some of those very strong, those light blues, light greens over Rochester, which corresponds to the winds that we're seeing. They're seeing gusts of over 60 miles per hour where the radar is hitting. That's quite a bit above the surface because Rochester is far away from the radar, but it's picking up on that. North central Iowa is even farther away from any radar. So locations near Algona, Lone Rock, Armstrong, Emmitsburg, they have light blues and light greens over them, which indicates that you're seeing wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Doesn't mean it's reaching the surface, but we have to assume that it is, and that some of these storms are going to be capable of producing winds that strong. If that is indeed the case, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to seek shelter, you're going to want to be indoors, and you're going to want to be away from windows. And we're just going to ride this out. We're all going to be okay. We're just going to be dealing with some very heavy wind and rain for the next period. We have 11 outages in Rochester and 104 customers impacted. That is great to know. Thank you, Paul, who's our producer. He is manning the booth behind the scenes, providing me with updates of when reports of, say, power outages, when some of our reporters are standing by. So thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it. I'm taking a look at northern Iowa right now. Zooming back in, let's take a look at this severe thunderstorm warning. Radar indicated 80 mile per hour winds. That is hurricane force winds. Category 1 hurricane force winds are possible for Cerro Gordo, Hancock, Kossuth, and Winnebago counties. This includes communities such as Algona, Clear Lake, Forest City, Garner, Britt, Clemmy, Goodell, Forest City, Lake Mills, not quite up to Emmons, but Thompson, Buffalo Center. You guys have some excuse me, having a little bit of brain fog here. Severe thunderstorms capable of producing 80 mile per hour winds coming your way. This warning is in effect until 12:30. Now, typically with severe thunderstorm warnings, we usually don't do wall-to-wall coverage, but in this case, where we're seeing potentially 80 mile per hour winds, I feel like it's a valid case to do that. And when you're seeing big population centers, not even just big population centers, but locations seeing 70 to 80 mile per hour winds capable of knocking out power and causing widespread destruction, that is definitely worth cutting in for. So we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on. We have a lot of people in our viewing area. We just want to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody's staying safe, and everybody is aware of the situation, because that's the best thing you can do in a situation like this. So again, there's two big areas of storms that we're watching. One is here across southeastern Minnesota, racing southeast. Another area is here in north central Iowa, racing eastwards, moving through Algona right now, approaching our western Iowa counties in our viewing area. And then we have some storms coming down across southeastern Minnesota, moving in from the southeast. I'm going to take a look at a Broadway Plaza tower cam here. We're going to load that in. It's going to take just a second so you can see some of the some of what we're seeing here in Rochester. You can't see a whole lot, very heavy rain. It looks like we have a tree down in Casson. Again, 104 people impacted without power here in Rochester. We have 11 power outages overall. So again, we are seeing some trees being knocked down by those gusts, and those trees are capable of knocking down power lines. You could very well lose power. That's something to be ready for across our area, not just here in Rochester, but across most of the viewing area. That's something we should all be getting ready for. Let's take a look at, I'm going to try to see what we also have here in our severe weather, for severe weather coverage. I'm going to take a look out at what Austin looks like here. Let's take a look at Albert Lee. It looks like Rachel's capturing some of the strong winds that are moving through there. At least at last check, from what I understand, we do not have a severe thunderstorm warning there yet, but you can see that tree is definitely being blown around by some pretty gusty winds, which is very reminiscent of what we saw here in Rochester last night. And those were gusts of up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Taking a look at Austin, you can actually see the curtains of rain sweeping across Austin right now. Some of those heavier winds sweeping those rain curtains across the area. This is something that a lot of us are seeing. We're not seeing everybody escape some of these gusty winds. Taking a look at our Albert Lee Tower cam right now, it's kind of blurry, at least on my end. You can see a lot of lightning though. It does look like the lake is definitely, there is some gusty winds blowing across the lake. You can faintly see some of those wind streaks across the lake right now. Looks like some gusty winds and low-level clouds blowing in. We want to take a look at the radar to see exactly what's going on there. I'm going to see if there's been any updates on severe thunderstorm warnings real quick, and then we'll break down each and every one of them. Dearborn County, you guys are threading the needle right now. You still are threading the needle. Looks like what we call, I'm gonna point this out to you here. Let's get a little bit of a more in-depth look at some of these storms here. We have a picture of a tree down in Casson. We were talking about that before. Let's take a look at that. A tree down in Casson, likely blown over by those very strong winds. Again, these trees could knock down power lines, and or power lines could be toppled by these heavy winds too. So this is why we say we want you to seek shelters, because if you're outside and you just happen to be caught near one of those trees or under one of those trees as it falls, the outcome is definitely not ideal. So it's best to, once the storm has passed, that's the best time to go out and take pictures. You want to wait until the storm has passed. It looks like we have a update. If I had to guess, most of North Iowa is now under a severe thunderstorm warning. A new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued for our friends down in Mitchell and Howard counties. This extends over into Winneshiek County as well. This warning is in effect until 12:30. No rain right now, no winds right now, but this warning is for radar indicated winds of up to 70 miles an hour, hail up to quarter size. Both of those are severe parameters, so this is a 1-2 hit potentially. Cities like Cresco, Decorah, Osage, St. Ansgar, Riceville, Saratoga, Lime Springs, Elma, locations, Stacyville, everywhere in between. You are now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:30, so that is for the next hour, just about 58 minutes. The sirens are sounding here once again in Rochester. You might be able to hear them. Taking a look further north, a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15 for Fillmore, Mower, Olmsted, Winona counties. That includes a bunch of communities from Preston to Bloomingfield, Grand Meadow, Dexter, Lansing, Austin, up to Hayfield, Casson. Actually, Casson, I do believe, is now out of the severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like it is progressing east. St. Charles, Chatfield, Rochester, still under that severe thunderstorm warning. The severe thunderstorm warning in Rochester is in effect, looks like, until 12 a.m. I have to kind of battle back and forth between some of these warnings. It looks like, yes, it does look like that the one over Rochester is until midnight, 12:15 just to the east, and then 12:30 down across North Iowa. I'm gonna take a drink of water. My goodness, that was a loud rumble of loud rumble of thunder. I need to take a drink. I'm gonna toss it to Robin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aiden. Thank you for staying on top of everything for us. You're taking a look right now at Highway 52 and 37th Street. You can see traffic is kind of moving along relatively well. Just outside of our studios here in Southwest Rochester, about 20 minutes ago, the wind was blowing so hard, and I understand that in some places you're experiencing hurricane force winds or actual gusts of winds. Now you can hear the sirens, and a lot of people have been texting and calling. They should head to their basements, but no, just keep it right here. And as always, if you'd like to download our mobile app, it's free. It's available in the app and Google Play stores. That will keep you up to date, as will staying here online. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and of course, we have our website at kaltv.com. Now, as we were reporting earlier, there are down trees in Casson. We also reported that although it sounds not like a huge impact, there have been 11 power outages, which has affected over 100 people. And interestingly enough, here at our studios, we have been impacted by that as well. So we shut down for half a second. Our generators brought us back up. So we're kind of trying to juggle this as well. When I was out there about a half hour ago, as I was mentioning, the winds were blowing so that the rain was actually going vertical, and it wasn't straight line winds. It was kind of twirling around, going in a bunch of different directions. I also noted after a little while we saw some pea-sized hail, and that was coming down pretty steadily. I kept grabbing it, trying to bring it in to see it, but by that time, look at me, I'm a mess. This is what live TV looks like, folks. But I had that the hail in my hand, but it melted. So what we're curious about now is if you guys have any pictures or any images of downed trees or damage in your area, first and foremost, stay safe. What are we looking at, Paul? Yeah, this is 55th Street, just heading a little north, and it looks to me like the rain has completely died down there. Highway 52 and 55th Street, so that's just north of us. The lightning still filling the skies. We heard a loud crack of thunder. From my understanding is we're going to be experiencing this off and on throughout area at least through 12 o'clock tonight, midnight. Now we do have another morning crew. Our morning crew is coming in early, so we're going to be staying on top of all of this for you folks all night. So just know we're sticking it out with you as long as it lasts. And I think Aiden is probably ready to take it back. Aiden, back to you.
You know, I actually have a question. Robin, how large was that hill that you saw?
Yeah, it was only pea-sized.
Pea-sized?
So
okay.
yeah, at least here in our studios. And again, if anybody is experiencing anything more than that, please, send us some pictures at kaltv.com.
Absolutely. You know, the live reports, I just want to take this moment to shout out people who were posting. Fun fact, ABC6 has a weather spotter Facebook page, and some of you were posting in that, letting me know that there was a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust reported in Heartland. Those reports make my job, Brandon's job, Randy's job so much easier because that allows us to let people know what's happening in real time. It allows us to warn people of what could be coming down the pipe for them within the next 30 to 45 minutes. It's absolutely excellent stuff. We really appreciate it. So, from everything from rainfall reports to wind reports to hail reports, pictures, those eyewitness accounts, those are absolutely vital in situations like this because they help us be informed of what's coming soon. That way we can better prepare everybody else for what's coming as well. So again, just for people who were doing that last night, special shout out. Thank you very much. More than open to do it again tonight. Of course, wait until the storms are past, please, before you head out and take pictures of any downed trees, any downed power lines. If you experience downed power lines, don't go near. Certainly don't drive or walk over them. They could still, and likely still will certainly be live. And they definitely could electrocute you as well. So please stay away from any down power lines. You don't want to go anywhere near those. If you happen to be outside, again, this is one of those times that you're definitely going to want to take shelter. I can't imagine too many people are outside. I know as tempting as it is to go out and take videos of this, it is, you know, I'm one of those people that is very fascinated by this type of weather. I love to get some good lightning pictures, some good storm pictures, but what I always encourage people to do is make sure you're doing it in a safe situation. In terms of what Robin was saying earlier, again, you might be hearing sirens. We don't have any tornado warnings across the area, but we do have plenty of severe thunderstorm warnings right now, both in southeastern Minnesota and northern Iowa as well. So I'm going to do a basic rundown of what's going on. You know, Freeborn County, you know, you guys are always, it always seems to be that you guys are the ones that have the tornado warnings or the severe thunderstorm warnings. Tonight, you are being let off the hook, so to speak. That's good news, especially since a lot of people got reports of power outages last night, some trees down. Albert Lee is definitely one of the last areas I wanted any storms to impact tonight. I didn't want storms to impact anybody, but Albert Lee was certainly one of those places. So it's good that you guys are getting off the hook this time around. I'm going to try to navigate the confusion of all of these polygons across our area and kind of read out to you what warnings we have across the area. I'm zooming into Hayfield, Waltham, down to Austin, a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. So that is for the next 21 minutes. It looks like, I'm going to try to see here, 70-mile-per-hour winds, radar indicated, quarter-size hail. Again, radar indicated, that doesn't mean it's actually happening, but it very well could be. Let's assume that it is. That's the best thing that you can do, is assume that these heaviest wind gusts are happening. And this is why we're telling people to take shelter. Let's head just south. I just saw a bolt of lightning strike the northwest side of Rochester out of the corner of my eye on one of our tower cams. That was absolutely amazing. My goodness. Rose Creek, Adams, down Minnesota Highway 56, down to Leroy, Teope. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15. So that's another, let me do some good math here. We just have word that Rachel is standing by in Albert Lee. Let's take a look at what things look like in Albert Lee right now. No severe thunderstorm warning, but from what I understand, the last time Rachel came in, it was pretty windy there. So how are things looking there right now, Rachel?
Yeah, that's right, Aiden. I'm trying to stay as much under cover as I can because the rain really started coming down a few minutes ago. We're going to try to pan over a little bit. Obviously, it's dark out, so it's kind of hard to see right now, but that wind, the rain has picked up way more since when I last checked in with you. We're definitely hearing the thunder roll in. You might be able to hear a little bit as I'm talking now, and we're still seeing plenty of flashes of lightning. You might be able to pick out there going off, so it's definitely an indication those storms are getting closer and closer to us, or that they're just already here. So again, like I've been saying all night, we do have the shelter here in Albert Lee at the Crossroads Church. If you need somewhere to stay, better late than never, come on out here. Just make sure that you're safe. Aiden.
All right, Robin is out in the garage, so let's take it out to her and see what things look like here in Rochester. Robin?
Yeah, the beautiful part about it, Aiden, is that everything has completely died down here on Salem Road right outside our studios in Southwest Rochester. You can still hear rolling thunder quite a bit, and when the flashes of lightning light up the sky, you still see some heavy billowing clouds. But all in all, the hail has already melted, as we mentioned before. It was about pea-sized hail. Sirens are going off, and again, we just want to tell folks at home that when you hear sirens right now, it's not necessarily tornado. In fact, in these instances, there are no tornado warnings or watches out. It's all severe weather. But it is a little disconcerting when you hear those because you think, should I head to the basement or not? Just pay attention, keep us up online, keep us up on air, and we will keep you updated throughout the night. So in the meantime, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the rolling thunder, and hopefully everybody at home is feeling safe. And as Aiden mentioned too, you guys are really helpful to us as we are here in the studios. A few of us are out in the field, but you have complete coverage at home. home. So if there's anything that you're seeing out of the ordinary, any damage, again, first and foremost, be safe. But if you see anything, just let us know and send it to us at KALTV.com. Aiden?
Couldn't have said it any better myself, Robin. Thank you very much. We're going to take a trip down to North Iowa here. Forest City, down to Britt, Garner, Clemmy, heads up. This severe thunderstorm that I've been tracking since it was tracking through Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It has tracked that far over the last few hours. It is pretty much on your doorstep at this point, moving into Worth County. Another beautiful lightning bolt out of our tower cam. Buffalo Center, you are in the brunt of it. Lake Mills, you're seeing some heavy rain here soon. It looks like we have 270 people without power in Rochester, 54 in Austin. We are seeing power outages. That is, of course, not ideal and never good. We'll continue to update people on what power outages look like across the area as we get those reports in. But again, that's where your reports coming in are really important as well. Let's just take a look at what the severe thunderstorm warning is for. It's in effect until 12:30. Radar indicated hail of up to 1 inch. 80-mile-per-hour winds are possible. This storm has a history of producing 80-mile-per-hour winds, so there is a decent possibility that you could see that. I'm going to go over to velocity right now and just take a closer look at what things look like. Unfortunately, this is a part of the state that has rather poor radar coverage. We almost need a radar in Mason City. The closest radar site to Forest City, closest to Britt and Garner, or to Clear Lake. The closest radar to you guys is all the way down in Des Moines. That is a long ways away, so the radar beam, the further away you are from the radar, the higher up that beam is. So by the time you get to, let's say, our counties in northern Iowa, the radar is so high up that it oftentimes misses what's happening down at the surface. So it's usually not the most accurate representation. When it comes to tornado coverage, it is a major headache. Thank you folks for bearing with us on that. Oh, great. Let's take a look at the Rochester outage map and see what's going on. 35 outages, 270 people impacted across the area. And that really looks like most of just all over the place in Rochester, both the north side, west side, southeast side. That looks it looks more widespread across the city, which definitely checks out, especially with some of the winds that we saw here, some of the winds that you could see that's tossing around our tower cam. Again, I can't confirm exactly what we're looking at in terms of wind here. I haven't seen any verified reports so far, but I can't imagine it's any light wind that's been moving through our area. Let's take a look again across North Iowa. Going back to what I was saying earlier is that the radar is not the best representation, but even this radar is picking up on some very strong wind gusts associated with these thunderstorms, which is why they're being severe warned. So if you are in anywhere in Winnebago County down to Hancock County, let's go to even Worth County and Cerro Gordo County, you're definitely going to want to start thinking about taking shelter if you happen to be outside at this time of night. Just hunker down in a place that you feel safe. And stay tuned for all of the latest updates. We're going to be here as this storm rolls through. I'm going to have morning meteorologist Brandon Marshall coming in here soon. We're going to tag team things as this storm moves towards Mason City, eventually Charles City as well, Manly, Northwood, Rockford, Osage. And actually, interestingly enough, I'm going to take a look at radar. It looks like portions of northern Iowa, especially Howard and Mitchell County, you guys are going to see a double dose of this. You are going to have this line of severe thunderstorms moving in your direction, and you're also going to have this line of severe thunderstorms. You guys are going to have a double hit of potentially severe weather across your area. So that's the area that is that is definitely going to, no pun intended here at all, be on my radar over the course of the next hour or two. Let's take a look at southeastern Minnesota once again. The reflectivity values on some of these storms is decreasing. It's getting lighter, which hopefully that is a sign that these storms are beginning to weaken. Sometimes what happens is that the outflow boundaries outpace the storms. They cut off the moisture-rich and warm air that feeds them, and they begin to fall apart. They begin to fizzle out. However, even as storms dissipate, they can still pack some very gusty winds. So while this is weakening, and as it moves into northern Iowa, Fillmore County, I just saw another beautiful bolt of lightning from our Rochester tower cam. Mower County as well, just because these reflectivity values are becoming not as heavy, it doesn't mean the wind threat is diminishing. In fact, some of the more significant wind gusts are sometimes reported when storm cells begin to weaken. So again, all of Fillmore County is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 12:15. All of Mower County is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 12 a.m. or half of it is anyway. The southern half is under a warning until 12:15 a.m. It's a lot to keep track of, I know. Up to St. Charles, for eastern Olmsted County, that is in effect until 12:15 as well. And then moving down to northern Iowa until 12:30 for Howard, Mitchell, Mower County, Winneshiek County. This includes communities from Osage, St. Ansgar, to Riceville, to Cresco. All those communities, all those locations are under that severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds, that are radar indicated. Let's take a look at how things are looking at Rochester. We have light rain over us right now. There is still quite a bit of lightning, and typically there is quite a bit of lightning even when the winds start to decrease. So the good news is the strongest winds are past Rochester. We are now seeing reports of a lot more outages all across. 473 people are impacted. What did you say the number of outages was, Paul, again? 46. Okay. 46 outages. Over 400 people are currently affected across Rochester. We're looking at more extensive power outages here as these storms race through. Fortunately, here in Rochester, the winds are starting to die down. The rain is starting to die down as well. The heaviest of the storms now is moving through central Fillmore County. Wow. That was an amazing bolt of lightning. I'm sorry I keep getting distracted by the lightning, but it's lighting up the computer monitor on the side to the side, and it's even through the camera or even through the computer, it's half blinding to see. Taking a look down now across northern Iowa, once again, these storms are moving very quickly into Britt, Garner. You're going to be seeing those storms within the next 5 minutes. Forest City within probably the next 10. It looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning extension into Worth County, Cerro Gordo County. Mason City, you are under that warning. Manly, Northwood, you are under that warning. Grafton as well, you are under that warning. Clear Lake, Garner, this is in effect until 12:30 a.m. 1-inch hail, 80-mile-per-hour winds, radar indicated. Again, they're basing that 80-mile-per-hour wind potential off of past reports that were 80 miles an hour across north central Iowa. It has a history of producing winds that strong. A tornado is possible. Let's take a look at what Byron looks like. I understand that the rain is starting to decrease there. The wind is decreasing. It actually doesn't look like it is decreasing there at all. Looks like there is still. Let's take a look at radar. Oh, this was from 15 minutes ago. Okay, that makes more sense. All right. You see some very heavy rain, very heavy wind. We're all seeing it. None of us are getting off the hook on this. It just so happens that there are some locations that are not seeing it as heavily. Freeborn County is one of those locations. You guys managed to escape a severe thunderstorm warning for now, although I suspect portions of southern Freeborn County may see a warning here very shortly because of this that is beginning to move into the far southern portion of the county. I definitely would not be shocked if that gets a warning, just given how things are unfolding here tonight. So let's take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Worth County down to Cerro Gordo County. 1-inch hail, 80-mile-per-hour winds. They do indicate that a tornado is possible. Not likely, but it's possible. Now let's take a quick trip north to Albert Lea, where again, they don't have heavy rain right now, but I'm watching the northern periphery of what's tracking through northern Iowa right now, starting to move in that direction. Kind of wondering if there's a lot of lightning there, Rachel. How are things looking?
Yeah, that's right. And there actually is a lot of lightning. That's been the constant that we've been seeing over the last couple of hours, is just those constant lightning flashes coming down every few seconds. And like you also mentioned, we don't have too much heavy rain right now. There was a little bit, like I mentioned last time, it was pretty heavy coming down, but that didn't last too long. It's still coming down, sprinkling just a little bit. We still are hearing that thunder. The winds are still blowing, a little bit less gusty than they were just a little bit earlier. But again, like you said, that lightning, it's just constant. That's the main thing that we're seeing out here. You know, I've been talking to some folks here at the Crossroads Church who are taking shelter. It sounds like a lot of them are coming because they stay in trailer parks. So they're just trying to make sure that they're staying safe, that they're not risking themselves since they don't have a basement to stay in and take shelter from this weather. A couple of them even mentioned, you know, they have little ones here with them. They would really rather just be able to go home and put the kids to bed and get to sleep, but we're trying to wait out the storm here and make sure that everybody is safe. Adam.
Thank you, Rachel. And speaking of thunderstorm safety, some of the best thing to do is get into a sturdy building, stay away from the windows, as I was saying earlier, and definitely, for so many reasons, avoid trees, especially if wind topples them, if lightning strikes them. You want to avoid tall objects. For not only the lightning threat, but if wind manages to topple them over as well. You do not want to be anywhere near a tree or power line as it falls over. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. I'm curious, I want to take a look at our tower cam in Albert Lea right now. Just to update people, if you're hearing sirens, once again, there are no tornado warnings across our area. They are being sounded for heavy winds. We can see some lightning in Albert Lea, a few low-level clouds there, but mostly some pretty bright lightning going on there right now. I suspect most of our area is experiencing that as well. It's a cool show, but it definitely is the sign of some of the ominous severe weather that we are seeing across our area. Let's look at Austin right now. Let's see how things look there. Looks like some rain is still coming down. Can still see sheets of rain moving in from left to right on the screen there. Still looks like they're seeing some heavy rain moving across. It doesn't look, let's try to see if I can, it does look like there is some heavy wind there as well. Looking at the tops of the trees, you can see them blowing quite hard. That is just, that's something to keep in mind. In Austin, you're likely seeing some of those heavy winds, some of the heavier winds rather, and some heavy rain as well. Let's take a look at how things look from our Cascade Creek tower cam. This tower cam is very finicky. Sometimes it doesn't like to work, and I'm just kind of gonna give it 20 seconds. Sometimes it tends to lag. It would be great if it worked. It was working earlier, so let's all cross our fingers here that it pulls up. If it doesn't within the next 10 seconds, I'm gonna move on. This tower cam is always finicky. I don't think it's gonna pull up. That's unfortunate, but anyway, that would have been overlooking downtown Rochester. From a different view, we have our Broadway Plaza tower cam. We also have that tower cam as well. It looks like we have power outages in Dodge County as well. Looks like just over 1,200 customers, so quite a few people in Dodge County are without power right now. Yeah, these storms are definitely on the nasty side, knocking out power, causing widespread power outages across the area. So again, if you're in the path of these storms and you haven't seen them yet, I would anticipate the potential for losing power tonight. Something that you can do is if you do lose power, report it. So then that way the power companies are aware that you are without power, and then that way they can get to work as soon as the storms pass, and they can get you back up and running as soon as possible. Let's take a look at the wide radar shot again. These storms are moving fast. The storm complex moving through southeastern Minnesota, already moving into Winona County, already moving out of Wabasha County, moving into Houston County right now, moving through Fillmore County very quickly. It's pretty much the heaviest precipitation, and the wind is already out of Olmsted County. That was quick. Moving through Mower County right now. It's out of Dodge County. It's out of Steele County. Freeborn counties, it's still up in the air. There's some stuff skirting the southern portion of the county. Northern Iowa, you are seeing the heaviest precipitation right now based off of radar, and probably the heaviest winds, if I had to hazard a guess, across Winnebago County and Hancock County, moving into Cerro Gordo and Worth County right now as well. I'm going to take a quick drink of water here, excuse me. I'm going to toss to Robin while she's in the studio here. I'm going to take a quick drink of water.
Yeah, you do that. Thank you so much, Aiden. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. We've got reports of power outages in a number of places, and I have heard on the scanner that there are several. Of course, we haven't been able to confirm those, but what we're looking at right now is the Minnesota power outage map, and you can see right here the areas that are most affected, and we have the latest update in Olmsted County, and there are 3,000 people right now without, is it residents, Paul, or people? Residents, customers without power right now in Olmsted County. And in Dodge County, there are about 1,300 people without power right now. Goodhue is just under 4,000 without power right now. We did hear on the scanner, again, no confirmation, that in Dover there is a power line down and it is sparking flames in a tree, and Alliant Energy has been called out. But if you're driving around in Dover, hopefully you're not, or plan to anytime soon, a power line down there and creating some sparks. We do, as I said before, have reports of trees down all over the area. Also on 11th Avenue Southeast, there was a report of several trees down in that area completely blocking the road. So if you decide to venture out just because you're curious, like Aiden is curious in this type of weather, if you see anything like that, just be careful, because you never know where power lines might be. With the rains that we've had, you don't know where roads might have been washed out. So certainly take it easy out there. Yes, so let's see, do we have an update on any photos, Paul? Okay, let's take a look at Byron. Right now we understand we have a video of a tree that's down, and this is just one of many. It's a photo that's taken place this evening in Byron, and I know that Rachel's in Albert Lea, and she's been reporting several issues in Albert Lea as well. And it is moving across the area, as Aiden said earlier tonight. Now it's going to be most of North Iowa, Clear Lake, Mason City, possibly Britt and Garner. Those areas right now are probably experiencing the most rain, some wind, and right now for our area, we are just kind of sitting tight, just waiting for these warnings to expire. And it looks to me like Olmsted County has expired, or has that been extended, Aiden?
It looks like the heaviest of the rain and the heaviest of the wind is moving out of Olmsted County at this point.
Okay.
Which is good news. Let's take a look at what radar looks like. I was optimistic for a second that Mower County was without a severe thunderstorm warning. The southern portion of Mower County is still under that severe thunderstorm warning. I do believe that's until 12:15, so that's another 13 minutes. You guys along the Minnesota Highway 56 corridor there, Adams, Rose Creek down to Teope, Leroy, you are still under that warning for the next 13 minutes. This is saying 12:30. It keeps toggling back and forth between this warning and the one to the south. So just bear with me here, folks. Again, Lewiston, Preston, this is the one further to the east. So these are all, something interesting to note here is that this whole box right here is one giant severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service of La Crosse. Wonderful people. What they do, they issue all these warnings and they keep us all informed of what's going on. They do an amazing job at the National Weather Service of La Crosse, and they decided that it was just best to throw a huge warning across half of Mower County, most of Fillmore County, and into Winona County as well. So we have that warning in effect until 12:15. If we go down to northeastern Iowa right now, there's a warning in effect until 12:30 for portions of Howard and Mitchell County, winds of up to 70 miles per hour. The big warning that we're really keeping track of right now, though, is the one where 80-mile-per-hour winds are possible across portions of Hancock County, Winnebago County, into Worth County, and down to Cerro Gordo County as well. They do also mention that a tornado is possible. There are no tornado warnings right now, but they are possible. We're going to shift over to velocity here real quick just to get kind of an idea of what's going on. Based off of our La Crosse radar, it looks like things are not looking as potent across southeastern Minnesota as they were earlier, and across northern Iowa as well. It looks like these storms are beginning to lose steam. It's unfortunate it didn't happen sooner, but so it goes. Let's take a look at northern Iowa. Again, this is, even though we are far away from the radar here, we are seeing some light blue pixels here, which indicate that there are definitely some stronger winds above the surface. Whether that's actually reaching the surface or not, it's hard to say, but we have to assume that some of those stronger wind gusts are approaching the surface near just north of Garner, moving into Cerro Gordo County, moving into Worth County as well. So we are seeing those severe thunderstorm warned storms march east right now. Again, taking a look at the radar picture, storms are moving through Fillmore County right now, moving into northern Iowa. Within the next 20 to 30 minutes, the main focus is going to be across North Iowa, which is where that moderate risk for severe weather is. That's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on over the next hour or so as well. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning that definitely has a lot of my attention is the one moving through Forest City, Garner right now. Britt is seeing those very heavy rain and winds down to Clemmy as well. Mason City, you're starting to see that you're starting to see the storms that moved across southeastern Minnesota. That line, you're starting to see that move over you, and you're also starting to see that severe warned thunderstorm from the west move in your direction too. So it's going to pretty much merge right on top of you, and that's why we have two different severe thunderstorm warnings issued there as well. Again, for 1-inch hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds. Again, these are radar indicated. A tornado is possible. There's no tornado warnings as of right now. The threat for tornadoes is relatively low at this point, just given the nature of these storms. But it is a possibility. We can't rule it out entirely. That's basically, that is a rundown of what is happening across most of our area right now. Again, some pretty large polygons being drawn for some of these storms as they march through the area. I want to take a look at some of our tower cams, take a look at Austin, see how things are looking there. The last I checked, it was pretty windy based off of the movement of the trees. It still does look quite a bit windy there as well. The rain doesn't look as hard, but it definitely does still appear to be coming down. You see some lightning in the distance. Taking a look at our Albert Lee tower cam here once it pulls up. I'm probably going to be seeing some rain. The tower cam is being tossed around a little bit by some of that wind. And here's the thing about these storms is once they pass, the winds die down pretty quickly. Looking at winds, quite a bright flash of lightning looking east over Fountain Lake right now. The winds die down relatively quickly. Looking at north winds of around 5 to 10 miles per hour after these storms pass, so it's going to get quiet quite quickly after these storms pass through. Let's take a look at radar one more time here again, see if there's any updates with any of the warnings. We are looking at It looks like the warning for Mower County has expired, for portions of Fillmore County has expired as well. It is expired for Olmsted County. We do not have a warning for Freeborn County either, so it is just Fillmore County or portions of Fillmore County across southeastern Minnesota that's under a severe thunderstorm warning. Most of the attention now is across North Iowa as that Boeing segment of storms that developed all the way west across Sioux Falls marches east. It's marched across all of northern Iowa up to this point, and that decaying line of storms that pass through southeastern Minnesota pushes south and pretty much just collides with it. So North Iowa is going to be the main focus quite quickly here over the next 20 minutes or so. You ready to go, Brandon?
Yeah, so kind of an active night here of weather. We talked about this early this morning on ABC 6 News. Good morning. I talked about how the potential was going to be there of some strong winds with these storms that we're going to roll through this evening. And actually during our daytime show, the Storm Prediction Center actually increased the severe potential, including the wind potential, that we could see some 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And I'm just getting here, so I'm just trying to get caught up to date on some of the things that have been happening. But if I'm correct, we did have a report of 74 miles per hour in Byron. Is that correct? About
Yes.
11:20 or so. So again, we haven't seen anything widespread as far as 70, 75-mile-per-hour winds or greater, but there is that potential that some of those strong winds, a few thousand feet aloft in the atmosphere, could kind of mix down to the surface, producing some of those higher gusts, and we have seen evidence of that. But here's where we sit with current warnings across portions of North Iowa. It looks like Cerro Gordo, also looks like Worth County in a severe thunderstorm warning right now. We have some more warnings, looks like across portions of Fillmore County, also into Houston County, Winona County, and some more in North Iowa. Again, these are mainly for strong winds. Again, that could top 70 to 75 miles per hour, and I believe there's still a tornado possible tag right here on this cell approaching North Iowa. No evidence of that, but the cell is, I'm guessing, seeing some rotation embedded in that where we could see a potential tornado, but nothing has been confirmed. Again, it is just radar indicated. I don't know if we want to zoom in on some of these cells in North Iowa here quickly, just to get an overview. Maybe there's some, I don't know, maybe a little bit of rotation there just to the west of Forest City, but other than that, not really seeing anything as far as rotation with these storms. It's mainly a wind threat is what we're looking at. As you can see, this line of storms moving through Forest City right now, where you're seeing some of these darker reds, oranges, and yellows. It indicates certainly some heavy downpours within this line of storms. And again, Cerro Gordo, Hancock, Winnebago under the gun here with a severe thunderstorm warning. And there you see the tag, 70 miles per hour. Also could see a quarter-size hail. Not really a big concern with hail. It's more of the wind. And again, there is that tornado possible, but it's all radar indicated right now. So let's put a tracker on if you want to stop it and kind of put a tracker just to see some of the cities and communities that the leading edge of this storm is going to impact here over about the next half hour or so. And there we go. We can stop it right there. So Central Heights, Mason City, Plymouth, Norris Springs, Rockford, it's going to get into your area about 12:40. St. Ansgar about 12:43. Osage, eventually Charles City coming up here just after 1 a.m. So there you see Charles City, and there you see the edge of the storm, or the front line of the storm. So you still got a while before it gets to Charles City, but of course you want to take shelter if you are awake and watching. You want to be in a safe place. These storms do mean business. Again, 70 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts are certainly possible with the leading edge of the storm. Let's go up to southeast Minnesota real quick and see what we have here as the brunt of these storms continues to pass through. It looks like we still have a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Fillmore County, also into Houston County. I don't know if you want to zoom a little bit further to the east. So there you see the edge of the storms approaching Caledonia. There's the cross there in the warning as well. So these storms continue to track through far southeast Minnesota, getting into northeast Iowa. Again, the main concern with these line of storms are winds of 70 to 75 miles per hour. Also some heavy rain in these cells as well. It is fairly progressive. They're moving very quickly, so I'm not really anticipating any flooding. There could be some ponding on streets. I did run into some of that on my way in, but certainly nothing as far as any significant flooding due to the progressive nature of these. But I did notice there is a lot of lightning. I can't remember the last time I saw so much lightning, almost continuous in the sky. I live around the Zumbrota-Mazeppa area, and it was lightning almost the entire way into Rochester. So again, it's quite the light show these storms are putting on. It looks like we do have another severe thunderstorm warning may be issued for portions of Winona County. So there you see the leading edge of the storms moving through Winona County, about ready to cross the river into portions of southwestern Wisconsin. Again, the leading edge of this cell producing winds that could top 70 to 75 miles per hour. Again, we haven't got anything widespread of those winds, 70 to 75, just some pockets of those gusts here and there, but certainly it is really windy in the upper levels or the low to mid levels of the atmosphere, and some of that could mix down to the surface. That's why there is that potential. Let's go back to North Iowa and look at that cell that does continue to move through portions of North Iowa. There you see Mason City, so this storm is kind of knocking on your door right now. This severe thunderstorm warning continues for Howard, Mitchell, also Mower, Winnebago County, and far northeast Iowa. This goes until, let's see, where is the time? Does it say? Until, there it is, 12:30, until 12:30 a.m. So about another 15 or so minutes. Again, these are the main threats with this cell. Winds of 70 miles per hour. Could see a little bit of hail, maybe quarter size. It's not really a big concern. It's more of the wind and the threat. A tornado is certainly possible, looking at some embedded rotation within the cell. So that's why they did tag tornado possible. But again, the main threat is going to be those strong winds of 70 to perhaps 75 miles per hour or so. Let's go back to a wide view and just kind of show the motion of these storms and where they're exactly tracking here. And they did start in what was eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota, and kind of, took their time to get here. And you can kind of see they're already starting to merge together. So they're going to merge, and then they're just going to continue to track further to the southeast across eastern Iowa, eventually getting into Wisconsin and portions of northern Illinois. But you can see really two areas of concern. You got this line that is moving through southeast Minnesota. That did produce the wind gust of 74 miles per hour in Byron. So it continues to track to the southeast. There's also this cell that has been kind of coming across portions of north and north Iowa. This also is capable of producing winds of 70 to 75 miles per hour, as well as some of those, it's almost some heavy rainfall. Not really worried about any flooding. Could see some ponding on roads, but certainly the main threat with these storms are going to be 70 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts. So this cell right here is moving almost due east. This is moving southeast. Eventually they're going to merge, but as they do that, most likely going to be out of our local viewing area by then. So anything else you can see from the National Weather Service, Aiden, as far as reports coming in? Okay, we're going to go to some weather video now from Albert Lee, and you can see here severe storms rolling through Albert Lee. Already did roll through Albert Lee. It looks like pretty calm now, or this was taken, I guess, earlier today. You can see about a half hour ago, you can see the rain there, the ponding on the roads. But again, the main threat with these winds were 70 to 75 miles per hour. Haven't really seen much as far as any damage. Well, there you go. There's it looks like a tree or a limb down there in Stewartville. So hopefully that didn't cause too much damage to that home, but it looks like a pretty good sized limb falling in there in Stewartville. Haven't really seen anything widespread for damage. Of course, it is, around midnight or so. A lot of people are sleeping. It is dark out. Maybe we'll start to see some of that here once we get to daylight in a few hours. Hopefully nothing significant, but when you're talking about winds of 70 to 75 miles per hour, as you saw there, that tree limb falling in Stewartville, trees are going to be more susceptible to some of these higher wind gusts. So we'll continue to look at reports to see if we have anything as far as any damage. You haven't really seen anything, Aiden, as far as from the National Weather Service?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. All right, so yeah, we're still tracking, again, these storms which are moving through southeast Minnesota. Again, the bulk of these passing through our viewing area into portions of far northeast Iowa. We're also watching this cell right here. If you want to zoom in again on this North Iowa cell real quick here, we'll show our viewers here where in North Iowa this is tracking. There you see Mason City. This cell is just getting into Mason City right now. This warning does continue for Cerro Gordo, portions of Hancock, Winnebago, and Worth County until 12:30. Again, it looks like they took the tornado, a possible tag off of that, which is certainly good. The winds, again, are the main concern, 70 miles per hour. Quarter-size hail is certainly possible within this cell, but not really a concern is the hail. It's more of those strong wind gusts that you see the cell, again, approaching the Mason City area right now. If you want to put a tracker on it once again for me, Aiden, just to kind of give our viewers, again, where this particular storm is heading here over about the next hour or so. We're going to put a tracker on the cell. Again, Manly, Plymouth, Norris Springs, Rockford, Osage, Floyd. There you see Charles City. You still got about a good 45 to 50 minutes before it gets into your area. And there you see Clear Lake. No doubt you're seeing some heavy rain right now in the Clear Lake area, where you see some of these darker reds and some of these orange colors. It indicates some more of those heavier downpours. But again, there you see some of the communities in line of this severe thunderstorm as it continues to barrel through North Iowa here this morning. I would say this evening, but now we're after midnight into Tuesday. So again, these storms do mean some business. So we talked about it early this morning or yesterday morning on ABC 6 News Good Morning, that the severe potential was there. Coming up late this evening and into the overnight hours with wind as the main threat, and we are certainly starting to see some of that. Anything new your way, Aiden, that you're seeing?
We have measured 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts 4 miles north of Lisle.
Okay.
We have a 54-mile-per-hour wind gust 1 mile east-northeast of Dexter. Measured 49-mile-per-hour winds 3 miles east of Austin. So these are AWOS reported.
Yep. So local weather stations measuring 40, 50, up to about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We've only had a couple up to around 70 to 75. Byron did have a report of a wind gust of 74 miles per hour from weather station in Byron. That was almost an hour ago. So again, I haven't seen anything widespread of over 70 to 75. It's been more 40, 50, 55 miles per hour, which still could do some damage. It could produce, you can knock down some limbs, maybe some small trees, and that sort of thing. So again, nothing widespread that we've seen, which is certainly some good news. Of course, that could help mitigate some of the damage. But there you see the strong cell moving through North Iowa right now. If you want to go back up a little bit further to the north to southeast Minnesota, and you can see these storms just kind of barreling through right through Fillmore County into Olmsted County. There you see Winona County and Houston County. So again, these looks like they are kind of weakening. The reflectivity, not quite seeing those oranges and those red colors. That indicates there is a little bit of weakening here, which is certainly good. You typically see that this time of the night, but still plenty of instability and fuel for these storms to really feed these storms. It was hot, it was a muggy day. I don't know if we got quite to 90 degrees today, but certainly got well into the 80s. It was humid, we had a lot of sunshine. That's a recipe for a very unstable environment and atmosphere, and we saw that throughout the day today, and we're still seeing the effects of that now. Even though the sun has been down for several hours, we're still seeing a lot of that instability, which is fueling these showers and storms. But it looks like it is, on reflectivity here, it looks like it's starting to weaken across southeast Minnesota, pushing into North Iowa. But certainly you could see some gusty winds and some heavy downpours with these showers and storms as they continue to track to the southeast. If you want to widen the view just a little bit, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of our area. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'll pull up the watch here
let's pull up the
just a
watch
second.
Just to see where we're at.
to
So,
that.
severe thunderstorm watch, they're already starting to expire it further to the west and north, which makes sense. The storms have already moved through portions of that area. I'm sure Olmsted County, Mower County, Dodge County probably will be expiring here as the worst of the storms have passed. But you can see in the pink here, so severe thunderstorm watch for much of southeast Minnesota, all of North Iowa, northeast Iowa, even into southwestern Wisconsin. I believe this watch goes out to probably for at least a few hours, I would imagine.
It goes out until 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Okay, obviously it's not going to be out to 4 a.m. for much of our area. The storms will have passed through by then, but more so further to the south and east where the storms have yet to make it. But severe thunderstorm watch still in effect, and where you see some of these, where you see the orange here, that is where the severe thunderstorm warnings are. And you can see far southeast Minnesota into Wisconsin, northeast Iowa, and again, parts of North Iowa currently in a severe thunderstorm warning. So it's been a pretty active night here across our area, which was, we were talking about it yesterday morning on ABC 6 News Good Morning, that these storms were going to pack a punch when they came through at some point, and they certainly have delivered. If we want to go back to reflectivity here, And you can see where the storms are. The main concern is this line of storms moving through North Iowa right now. And you can see where the warning is. It's across portions of Howard, also Floyd County and Mitchell County into North and Northeast Iowa, portions of Cerro Gordo, Worth County under the severe thunderstorm warning as well, with winds that could top 70 to 75 miles per hour as they continue to track to the east. We're going to go to our storm tracker now. We have our very own Rachel Mantas in Freeborn County. Is she mic'd up, or we just... Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, Brandon, yeah, we are driving down on I-90 now. We're just heading toward Mower County. You can see that the further east that we're getting, the more that the rain really is picking up, and we are still seeing constant flashes of lightning. If you can see that, they are pretty big. They're coming out more over to the side of our vehicle now, but yeah, the rain, it is still coming down. Like I said, it's picking up a lot more as we are getting closer to Austin, toward Freeborn County area. It was another really big flash of lightning there, so we are taking our time, driving below the speed limit, making sure that we are staying safe as the rain keeps coming down. Back to you, Brandon.
All right, thank you, Rachel. Of course, stay safe out there. Here's another picture of what looks like a flipped over trampoline. This is in Blooming Prairie, and of course trampolines, they don't stand a chance in storms like these. When we're talking winds even 40 50 miles per hour can flip over those things, and we're talking winds that could top 70 miles per hour. So there you see Blooming Prairie there of a flipped over trampoline. Hopefully that was the extent of the damage there, but you can see these showers and storms moving through North Iowa. There is Albert Lee, so just getting into still some heavy rain in Albert Lee. The worst is over for you. Even Austin, the worst is over. Just looking at more rain here over the next couple of hours. The main cell of concern still is in North Iowa. This system, the storm right now barreling through Mason City. You're likely seeing some of those higher wind gusts as well as some torrential rain with this strong cell as it continues to move through Cerro Gordo County. There's Kensett. You can see looking at some heavy rain, possibly getting in some strong winds there across portions of Worth County. We're going to go to some more video here. This is of lightning in Clear Lake, and you can see there off in the distance, it looks like a few trees there. And yeah, I mean, these storms putting on quite the light show. On my way in, it was constantly lightning the entire 20-minute drive into the station here. So a lot of energy is built in the atmosphere, which is producing a lot of that lightning and a lot of instability still fueling in these thunderstorms. Usually at nighttime, that instability after we get past sunset starts to wane a little bit, but still plenty of that fueling these thunderstorms here early this morning. So a main concern is, again, this cell moving through North Iowa. Have a few more cells up from southeast Minnesota into portions of North Iowa as well, into portions of Howard, Mitchell, and Floyd County. Charles City looks like all quiet now, but you're about ready to get in some rain and possibly some of those higher wind gusts of 70 to maybe 75 miles per hour or so. Anything new?
Just west of Clear Lake that they had up to 64 mile per hour winds reported. So,
okay. All right, there you go. 64 mile per hour wind gusts reported just west of Clear Lake, and it's from this cell right here. I don't know if we could put a velocity on, if we could tell maybe some of those higher gusts where those stronger winds are occurring right now. And so there you see Mason City. I'd say probably back here just to the west where you see some of these lighter green colors there. That is my guess of where some of those those higher wind gusts are. Even approaching Mason City, you can kind of see those greens right there. So Mason City may be getting into some of those stronger winds as well. There's Forest City, there's Garner. So again, these stronger winds making their way across Cerro Gordo County right now. And again, we did have that gust of 64 miles per hour right around the Clear Lake area. So I would anticipate at least 60 mile per hour gust coming through Mason City and portions of Cerro Gordo County here as the cell continues to push through North Iowa. Anything else you're seeing?
It looks like we have 1,600 people without power in Garner and 1,170 without power in Britt. So we're seeing some widespread outages down there.
Outages across North Iowa, Garner and Britt reporting some power outages, which again, you were talking strong winds that could knock down some power lines, some lightning, of course, lightning strikes as well, taking out maybe some transformers. So don't know the extent of how that is occurring, but of course we are looking at some power outages in Garner and in Britt as well as these storms continue to move through North Iowa. If you want to put the reflectivity back on here, maybe put another tracker on this cell, just to kind of update our viewers on where this particular cell is going. And they're really kind of merging together. You got this one coming in from North Iowa. You got a few cells making their way southeast from southeast Minnesota. So these are going to merge together and then eventually make their way to the southeast. But Norris Springs, Rudd, St. Ansgar right around 1243. So that's about 15 or so minutes. Charles City around 1256. Stacyville, there you see Riceville, Elma, and finally Saratoga right around 1:30 as this storm is tracking almost due east here right across North Iowa, and it's producing winds of up to 60, 70 miles per hour. We did see that gust of 64 miles per hour in Clear Lake not too long ago. So again, the leading edge of this storm is making its way almost due east. You're going to see quite a bit of lightning with this cell, also some heavy rainfall. Not really too worried about flooding. This is moving pretty quickly, so that should mitigate the flooding, but certainly could see some ponding on some of the roads and sidewalks and some streets and that sort of thing as the cell continues to move through. But there you see I-35. It is past I-35 now and continues to make its way further across portions of North Iowa. There you see Charles City, so not quite to you yet, but again, it will get to you in Charles City right around 1256, which is in about 20, 25 minutes or so. Anything new from you, Aiden?
It looks like we have quite a bit of, looks like we have quite a few power outage updates.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to toss to Robin for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to Robin.
Yeah, thanks so much, you guys, and thank you, Brandon, for coming in. What you can see right now are the electrical power outages that we have, and there's 916 people impacted right now, and that would be, is that Olmsted County, Paul? Yeah, 31 total outages, and that's just Rochester alone. I did just send in some video from Clear Lake. I don't know if we have that back in the booth, but it is an absolute lightning show. She was shooting video. It was a friend of mine from Clear Lake, and she was shooting video, and literally it was like daylight because it was just going off so quickly and so randomly. I've heard from friends in Garner, Iowa. I'm being a North Iowa girl. Absolutely ridiculous winds. She's going to try to shoot some video, but right now I think she's just trying to play it safe and stay away from windows, which is a good idea for anybody who's experiencing any of these high wind gusts. Yeah, so power outages, and as our two meteorologists have mentioned tonight, that storm is really kind of hitting hard right now in North Iowa. We here in southeast Minnesota, we've probably seen the brunt of it this evening, but for folks in Iowa, do pay attention, stay alert. Okay, so here's our update. We have 3,500 customers in Clear Lake, Iowa right now without power. So they are obviously experiencing some serious winds. I did hear from someone else who said that there was a downed tree in Clear Lake. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of that up here already. I imagine this will come more to light in the morning as the daylight breaks. But we are just seeing these incredible, incredible gusts of winds, some up to 70 miles an hour. Mind you, these are hurricane volume winds. This is what you would experience in a hurricane. So it's no wonder that some of these trees are coming down. We're hearing power lines coming down. One, as I mentioned earlier, in Dover that had landed in a tree and it was shooting off some sparks. So if you're out there, just be careful. Better yet, just don't even go out there at all. Do we have any more updates, gentlemen, on what's happening?
So far, I don't know. Do you have anything? Or?
I don't have anything new. Southeastern Minnesota is severe storm free at this point.
Which makes sense.
It has moved out of Fillmore County, so it's just North Iowa at this point. They're just stealing the show at this point.
Yeah, so here you see the cell moving through North Iowa. Again, winds could top 70 miles per hour, and it's standard for a lot of communities nowadays, a lot of counties, to sound sirens when you have winds that could top 70 miles per hour. The sirens went off where I live in the Zumbrota-Mazeppa area. Certainly got me out of bed here about a couple hours ago. So if you are hearing sirens anywhere across North Iowa where these storms are headed, it is because of those winds of 70 miles per hour. And we've seen gusts, Clear Lake, several thousand people without power in Clear Lake. We did have a gust reported of 64 miles per hour around the Clear Lake area. So again, these gusts could top 70 miles per hour or higher. Byron had a 74 mile per hour gust. That was about an hour and 10, 20 minutes ago as the brunt of those storms moved through southeast Minnesota, which now southeast Minnesota is in the clear. We're dealing with just some heavy rain and some lightning, but North Iowa, this is, you're under the gun right now. You have some strong storms moving through. The brunt of this storm passing through Mason City, where you see these darker reds. That indicates, well, that's where the center of the storm is, probably where some of those stronger wind gusts as well, and some of those, at least some heavy rain. So again, this storm continuing to roll right through North Iowa, impacting Cerro Gordo, also Worth County, Mitchell County, Floyd, Howard County as well. So these warnings do continue to track further to the east. Let's put the severe thunderstorm warning on so we can see which counties and where we are in the warning. So there you go. Severe thunderstorm warning continues. Cerro Gordo, also Worth County, Clear Lake, Hampton, Mason City, Parkersburg, all still within this warning. And this goes until 1:30, so about another hour or so. And if we go a little bit further to the east, I think some of our other counties, Floyd County, Howard, Mitchell County, also Chickasaw County, where New Hampton is, Charles City, Cresco, Osage, Vernon Springs, all within this warning. And this also goes until 1:30. There you see Floyd, there you see Charles City, likely getting in on some rain right now. I don't think the wind has really got to you yet in Charles City, as it's back a little bit further to the west. I don't know if we want to put velocity back on real quick and kind of expand this just to see where some of those stronger winds maybe at this point, if we're able to tell. And looks like they're about ready to come through Mason City, where you see some of these greens crossing the I-35 corridor. That indicates to me those are some of the stronger winds. May see a pocket of strong wind just to the north and west of green as well. So Mason City getting the brunt of some of these winds, which Clear Lake had a report of 64 miles per hour. So I would bet Mason City seeing at least 60 mile per hour wind gust here at this time. And again, this is pretty much tracking due east. So right along 218 Osage down to Charles City. Hopefully nobody's driving on that road right now or any of these other roads, especially Highway 18 going into Mason City, as it's going to be a tough go for anyone that is driving, especially this time of night when they're dealing with some heavy rain. That already is tricky in itself, but then you add winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. I mean, it's tough to drive in a 40 mile per hour wind, let alone 60 to 70 miles per hour when you don't know what's coming. These winds can knock down some tree limbs, and it could take them along. So you certainly don't want to be out driving in some of these rural highways across North Iowa. But again, some of these stronger winds coming through, looks like Mason City right now, and it is heading due east. So Charles City, Osage, anywhere in portions of Howard, Mitchell, and Floyd County, you're going to be seeing some of these higher winds within about the next hour, hour and a half, as this storm cell continues to march right through North Iowa as it is tracking due east. Anything your way, Aiden, that you're noticing?
I am not seeing anything new as of right now. I'm going to continue to obviously keep my eyes peeled out for. I did notice that earlier Cresco had a 60 mile per hour wind gust. Brownsdale, we don't have the picture in yet, but we just got a picture sent in of a bunch of trees down on the north side of Brownsdale. So that's something to.
Yeah, we've seen only sporadic, had reports of just sporadic damage right now, nothing widespread, but of course it is late at night, it's very early morning, so we may start to see some of that a little bit more once we get into the daylight hours of early Tuesday and the sun comes up here in a few hours. Hopefully, we're not going to see anything widespread. Of course, we don't want anything like that, but when we're talking winds of 60, 70 miles per hour, certainly that could put down some trees, maybe some structure damage as well. So we're going to it's kind of a wait and see right now, but again, the storm does continue to track through North Iowa. Southeast Minnesota, pretty much in the clear. The worst of the storms is over if we want to go back to the north, and where you can see Rochester looking at just probably some light rain. You can see even some breaks. Owatonna seeing some light rain, more some light rain, perhaps some pockets of heavier rain just south of Preston, around the Harmony area where we see some of these yellows and oranges. But again, just kind of rain and a little bit of leftover lightning across southeast Minnesota, as it's pretty much all done as far as the severe storms go, even though it looks like Houston County is still under a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, the main attention right now that we're tracking is across North Iowa, where some of these stronger storms moving through Cerro Gordo. There is Worth County, The worst of it is passing through, heading into Mitchell County. There is Floyd County, Charles City, and of course Howard County right there. So it is all heading your way. These winds could top 60 to 70 miles per hour. We did have that gust of 64 in Clear Lake. We have power outages too. Clear Lake has a couple thousand people without power. Britt has power outages. Garner was the other one that had power outages. So we've seen power outages from these strong winds across North Iowa. So hopefully we don't see any more, but certainly can't discount that when we're talking winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Also some heavy rain. So we got some more pictures here. This is a Stewartville. You can see that tree limb coming down. Hopefully there's no damage to that home or even to that fence. It looks like it just missed that, but you can see another tree limb down. This is in Austin, taken by one of our viewers there. It's a pretty good sized limb there. So again, these winds causing some tree damage. Here's some more limbs that are down. This is in the Byron area, which did have a 74 mile per hour wind gust. That was about an hour and 20 or so minutes ago. So you can see those winds producing some tree damage. Here's another one, tree damage in Hayfield. You can see a pretty good sized tree coming down there on that home. Here's some more tree damage. This is Blooming Prairie. This occurred during a lightning strike. You can see that limb down as well. So I mean, the one thing that I noticed on my way in is the lightning. We got a very charged up atmosphere, a lot of instability producing some of that lightning. Here's some more branches down. This is in southwest Rochester. You can see some of those twigs and some leaves on the roads. I did see that on my way in across several streets as well. And this is also in Rochester. It looks like a tree limb down there from, it looks like probably a strong wind gust that did come through. So there you go. You're seeing the extent of some of the damage that we have so far. Mainly it's tree damage, which is what you'd expect with winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. So once we get into the daylight hours, we'll see if the extent of any more damage once we get into the daylight hours. But since it's still late at night, still dark out, don't know the extent of any of the damage from some of these stronger winds. But right now, the cell continues to move through North Iowa. This is where the worst of the storm is. If we want to go to the warning just to see kind of what we're dealing with here with this particular storm.
Of campers blown over in
Campers blown over in Clear Lake. Okay, so Clear Lake, again, taking the brunt of this. A lot of power outages in Clear Lake, campers being blown over in Clear Lake. Hopefully anybody camping got into a sturdy and safe shelter as well as these storms did move through. But you can see the severe thunderstorm warning for Cerro Gordo, also Worth County. This goes until 1:30 as the storm continues to make its way through. It looks like the worst of the reflectivity here, some of these darker reds, is past Mason City, but you're certainly not out of the woods yet. You're still looking at some stronger winds. About 5-10 minutes ago, some of those winds were just getting into Mason City. So still stay in your safe place, in your shelter. You certainly don't want to come out with those strong winds. But they're moving into Norris Springs. There you see Rockford, Marble Rock. There's Charles City. This is heading your way. Charles City, likely seeing some good downpours right now in Charles City. But the worst of the storm is just to your west, and we're looking at winds, again, 60 to 70 miles per hour. Some small hail is certainly possible. So here's what we're looking at. About nickel-sized hail, winds about 60 miles per hour. So earlier it was 70. The Weather Service has knocked it down. Maybe they're seeing some weakening in the storm, which is certainly good. But still, 60 miles per hour, it could still pack a punch and bring down some limbs and overturn some campers like we've already seen or have seen or reports of that in the Clear Lake area. Anything you're watching, Aiden? No? Okay.
Not seeing anything new. Keeping my eyes peeled, though.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something, but there we go. The storm does continue to track through North Iowa. Again, about nickel-sized hail, winds of 60 miles per hour. So this storm certainly is on the strong, severe side as it moves through portions of Cerro Gordo County, moving into Floyd County as well. And we have that severe thunderstorm warning for Floyd, Howard, and Mitchell County. So Charles City, Cresco, Osage, Vernon Springs, you are in the line of the storm here between now and about the next 45 minutes to hour or so, with some small hail and those winds of 60 miles per hour. So let's back the radar out. Let's give everybody a wide view of these storms. How far back can we go? Can we kind of see where they developed? because that was several hours ago in portions of
Yeah.
eastern South Dakota, just to kind of give you an overview of where these storms came from. We were dry all day long, even through much of the evening hours. It was pretty dry. Just was a hot, humid day. So here we are. We're going back into the early afternoon hours, and you can see
Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to switch radars here.
you're gonna have to switch. Okay,
Yeah, just so that it encompasses all the radars, because
Yep.
it's one of the graphics that only includes
I get what
3.
you're saying. But they did form. But it was around eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota, kind of under the gun, where you saw these storms form. So if we go back a few more hours, I'd say, so there you go. So these storms form in eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota here, late afternoon and the evening, and they just kind of marched along, started tracking to the southeast, gaining some steam, and we had some more occurring across portions of eastern South Dakota, far southeast South Dakota into northwestern Iowa. You can see there as we head toward the lunch hour, all is quiet across much of Minnesota. Then some of those storms starting to flare up here later this afternoon and evening, again across eastern South Dakota. These cells across South Dakota into northwest Iowa, and just kind of look at where they came from. They came from a long, long ways, and they continue to impact the area. Southeast Minnesota, those storms have really kind of weakened as they pushed through the area into Wisconsin. Still looking at quite a few strong storms in North Iowa, but the North Iowa cells again formed right around Sioux Falls. You can see right around southern South Dakota, those storms forming here by around 6, 7 o'clock. And then they continue to march to the east, and there you see the southeast Minnesota ones coming through Rochester about 11:30, and the ones even gaining steam across North Iowa. So again, let's go back to the North Iowa cell here and just kind of track this cell that continues to move its way through North Iowa. We have several of our counties, Cerro Gordo, Worth County, also portions of Howard, Mitchell, and Floyd County in a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 1:30. So here come the storms.
Last hour. There we go.
Here we go. Now we're up to date. So there you see Mason City. There you see Nora Springs, and there you see Rockford. So again, these storms continue to make their way across North Iowa. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. Hail, not really a big concern. Maybe about nickel-size hail, and those winds of around 60 miles per hour. They were up to 70, but the Weather Service may be noticing some weakening in some of these cells as they continue to march their way to the east. If you want to back it out just a little bit, and let's go back further to the east, and can we put the radar on?
Yes,
We got the
absolutely can.
combination right now. So we'll put the radar on. Here we go. There's Charles City. There you see some of the reflectivity. There we go. So there's Charles City, the storm about ready to come into the Charles City area. Right now, again, these winds around 60 miles per hour did produce a gust of 64 in the Clear Lake area. So if you're in Charles City, certainly want to stay indoors. You don't want to go outdoors as these strong winds are heading in your way. There's New Hampton and Chickasaw County. There you see Cresco, Riceville, and Osage, looking at some of those strong gusty winds here of 60 or so miles per hour, and certainly some heavy rain and a lot of lightning. Just a lot going on, a lot of instability. So all right, we're going to go to a video here of, it looks like a tree down on a truck and a porch. This is in Fillmore County. Somewhere in Fillmore County, we don't have an exact location other than Fillmore County, but you can see a good size tree there falling on that truck and what looks like a porch as well. Hopefully the damage isn't significant, but my goodness, that's a pretty big limb that is fallen on that truck, and again, on a porch there in Fillmore County as these storms move through here within about the last hour or so. We're starting to see some of these pictures and videos come in of some damage across our area. Obviously, once we get toward daylight, maybe we'll see some more of that once we get into the daylight hours, but hopefully nothing, of course, widespread what we're looking at, but hopefully the damage is less. But we're looking at some strong storms moving through North Iowa. We've seen power outages across several communities in North Iowa as these storms continue to track through. There you see Charles City as the brunt of the storm is kind of knocking on your door right now in Charles City. You can expect winds of 60 miles per hour. You're going to see some storms moving from southeast Minnesota into portions of North Iowa, into portions of Howard and Mitchell County, Osage and Riceville, no doubt seeing some heavy downpours, perhaps some of those stronger wind gusts, but our main concern is the storm coming right through Charles City into central Floyd County right now, and it'll continue to make its way to the east over about the next hour or so. Anything new that you're...
I'm not seeing anything new right now. Just a whole lot of lightning across Floyd County right now into up into Mitchell County. Howard County seeing some heavy rain, but the bulk of the lightning is over Osage, Charles City, Rockford. You guys are seeing quite the light show, it looks like.
Yeah, very charged up atmosphere, so quite a bit of lightning across North Iowa with these storms. A lot of instability still fueling these thunderstorms. Usually get to this time of night, that instability kind of goes away. We lose the daytime heating. The sun set a few hours ago, so that instability kind of goes away. And we've seen some of that, but we've had a lot of sunshine today. It was hot, it was humid, so we got a really unstable atmosphere, and we're still kind of seeing that instability fueling these thunderstorms across, again, mainly North Iowa. Southeast Minnesota in the clear, no severe warnings, no severe watches across southeast Minnesota, all in the clear. Just looking at some leftover lightning and some pockets of heavier rain here and there. Again, the main story is these storms out of North Iowa right now as they continue to march further to the east. So let's put a tracker on this again, if we can. Just to kind of give people an update, our viewers an update of where these storms are headed. As you can see, it's getting through Charles City right now, marching through Floyd County. So there you see Deerfield, New Hampton, Fredericksburg, Protivin, Hawkeye between now and 1:45 as these storms continue to move eventually into Chickasaw County, eventually out of our viewing area. But right now, the brunt of it is moving through Charles City, Floyd County, also portions of Howard and Mitchell County in North Iowa as well. 60-mile-per-hour winds associated with these storms. If you are hearing the sirens, some communities and counties do sound them for 70-mile-per-hour winds. We did see that across portions of southeast Minnesota, Rochester. Sirens sounded earlier where I live, Zumbrota, Mazeppa area. Sirens were sounding. I'm sure in many other communities across North Iowa and southeast Minnesota, sirens were sounding. That is because winds of 70 miles per hour. These winds up to about 60 miles per hour. So we may be seeing some weakening with these winds and with these storms as they move through North Iowa. If we want to flip on the velocity real quick, just to kind of give our viewers, I just got to see where some of these stronger winds are right now. So we're seeing some of these green colors, these lighter greens, moving right into Rudd. This is where some of those stronger winds are likely right now. There you see impacting Mason City just not too long ago, and they're starting to shift a little bit further to the south and east. It looks like Rudd in Floyd County, seeing some of these stronger winds, again, that could top 60 or so miles per hour. So expect these strong winds to move right on through the rest of Floyd County and south and east across portions of north central and eastern Iowa here as we head further into the early morning hours. Let's go back to reflectivity real quick and kind of show you again the center of the storm. As there you see the Rudd area, so the center is moving right into the Rudd area, so you're likely seeing some of those stronger winds. Charles City, maybe not quite seeing those stronger winds just yet, but certainly you're seeing some heavier rain as the winds kind of coming in on the back edge of this storm. So you're likely going to get into some of those stronger winds of 60 or so miles per hour here momentarily, but no doubt looking at some heavy rain, maybe a little bit of small hail. That's not really the big concern with these storms. Not really hail, maybe some nickel size, penny size hail, certainly possible. It's more of the wind, and we were talking about that yesterday morning on ABC 6 News Good Morning, how these storms have the potential to produce those very strong winds. And then during our daytime show at 11 a.m., the Storm Prediction Center actually increases severe potential where we could see 70 to 75 mile per hour winds, and we have seen that. We have seen reports of those winds topping 70 miles per hour. Byron had a gust of 74 miles per hour. That occurred about an hour and a half ago as those severe storms moved through southeast Minnesota. But all is clear in Minnesota, just some leftover rain, a little bit of lightning. Right now, the severe storms are across North Iowa. You can see kind of merging together. This cell coming in from the west, you have some cells coming in from the north and west, so kind of merging together here in this cell, producing some of these stronger winds right across Floyd County. Those winds getting into the Rudd area, about ready to get into Charles City. Those winds of perhaps up to 60 miles per hour. Clear Lake, where this storm went through within about the last 45 minutes or so, had a gust of 64 miles per hour. Reports of campers being overturned in Clear Lake, thousands without power in Clear Lake. Also, Britt, I believe Garner was another community, a couple other communities that have reported power outages as well. Rochester has power outages, so I'm sure Many other communities across southeast Minnesota, North Iowa experiencing some power outages from some of these high wind gusts here this morning and from last evening. But certainly a lot of lightning with this cell. Certainly, no doubt, very charged up atmosphere and some heavy rain. Not really anticipating any flooding. It's a pretty quick moving storm system. Could see some ponding on roads, however. I did see some of that on my way into the station around the Rochester areas as these storms still packing a lot of moisture, so certainly some heavy downpours. I certainly don't want to be driving right along Highway 18 from Mason City to Charles City, 218. Nobody should be driving on 218 either as these storms are impacting North Iowa.
How do you feel about taking a little bit of a break?
Well, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, I could take over. Just to kind of run down what's going on right now. I can, if you want to man the radar
Go ahead.
just a minute. The current thinking is that with these storms moving out of, for the most part, northeastern, I am drawing a blank right now, northeastern Iowa. Once they clear, they're starting to clear out of the area. They're still over Charles City, which is one of our larger population centers. Once this is beginning to move out, we're probably going to discontinue wall-to-wall coverage here since the storm is, again, mostly moving out of our area. But that is where the heaviest rain, Osage down to Charles City, that is where the heaviest precipitation is taking place right now. Likely the heaviest winds are lurking just behind the onset of those, of the heavier rain. Up to Riceville too, you're likely seeing some heavy downpours into Howard County as well. Cresco, you guys are just seeing some light rain for now, but that is likely going to change over the next 30 minutes or so. Generally, this cell has just a slight southeast component to it, so it's going to be mainly moving into pretty much out of our viewing area near New Hampton over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. These storms are moving pretty quickly across northern Iowa, moving fairly quickly overall, but again, right around US Highway 18, down US Highway 218, you're definitely seeing some very heavy rain there right now and some very heavy winds as those storms roll through. Like Brandon was saying, yes, the sun is set, but we still have a lot of energy in the atmosphere. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere as well right now, and that's helping keep these storms going. You're also having a lot of wind coming down from those storms and spreading outward. That's helping to maintain these storms as well as they move off to the east. Just kind of walking you through what's going on in the atmosphere that's helping these storms continue to keep going. The good news is most of our area is finished with these storms. They're moving out of Mason City right now. Some moderate to light rain taking place there. Charles City up to Osage, you guys are still under the gun, and that is going to be the case for probably the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes or so. Southeastern Minnesota, we're severe thunderstorm warning free. We have been for a little while now. Just some light rain lingering across the area. If we want to, Brandon, would you want to pull up velocity for me here real quick, just to kind of look at where the heaviest winds are most likely taking place. There we go. So yeah, it looks like Charles City right now, just south of Osage. It looks like Osage might be dodging some of the heavier winds, but just pretty much right in Charles City over Rockford, Norris Springs, you guys are likely seeing some of the heavier winds. Rudd as well. Charles City, it's pretty much on your doorstep. So within the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'd say, that is when you're going to see the onset of the heaviest winds as this thunderstorm makes its way through the area. Not really seeing any signs of rotation, so the tornado concern is very low. It's just those heavy wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour that we're the most concerned about right now as this cell continues to move to the east-southeast. Taking a look at the watches, we still haven't seen any changes with these watches as of right now. I do expect that the watches across southeastern Minnesota are probably going to be canceled here fairly quickly. I suppose that some of the watches along the I-35 corridor, they'll probably hold on to those for just a little bit longer. Overall, though, we're likely going to see things start to wind down. We already are seeing things wind down across most of the area, except down near Charles City and in that vicinity. But within the next 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to start to see things wind down there too. Let's just take another look at a wider radar scope. Again, we're looking at Steele County, Dodge County, over to Olmsted County. Things are looking pretty clear as of right now. A little bit of renewed thunderstorm activity up near Mankato. with these storms moving through, they've taken up a lot of the energy in the atmosphere. So those storms are not too likely to become severe, but there definitely still will be some rain in the area into the overnight hours tonight. At this point, the heaviest rain once again is over Mitchell County down into Floyd County. That's where the heaviest rain is right now, even creeping into Howard County as well. Charles City, you guys are pretty much right in the bullseye of this cell as it passes through. Still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:30. That's about the next half hour or so. We're looking at wind speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. That's a little bit lower than what they were saying about, what was that, probably 15, 20 minutes ago, half hour ago or so. They've decreased the threshold for winds as the storm marches east because, yes, we still have a lot of instability, but we don't have quite as much as we did when these storms were further to the west. Hail up to quarter size, so we could see some severe threshold hail, but again, hail is not the largest concern as of right now. Brandon, what's up?
Yeah, the severe thunderstorm warning for Cerro Gordo, also Worth and Winnebago counties has been canceled. So again, Worth, Cerro Gordo, Winnebago counties are in the clear as far as the severe weather goes. Maybe a little bit of some strong winds there, maybe 40 miles per hour or less. Certainly still some heavier rains, but the worst of the storm is now past. Cerro Gordo, Winnebago, Worth counties have been canceled for the severe thunderstorm warning.
Well, that is good news.
Yes.
That is absolutely very good news. And again, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning across Floyd, Howard, and Mitchell counties for at least the next half hour as far as I am aware. Let's take a look at what we're looking at timing-wise. Elma, you're likely going to see these storms around 1:04, so that's in just about 6 minutes if the clock in front of me is correct. Riceville, pretty much going to be on top of you, pretty much already is on top of you. The heaviest wind is to your south. It looks like you're going to be seeing just some heavier rain though. Again, a lot of this is moving out of our viewing area. New Hampton, they're going to be seeing these storms around 1:11 a.m. By that point, we are going to be pretty much out of the woods in terms of counties in our viewing area. Our viewing area extends to Floyd County, and then this is pretty much the cutoff from Floyd County down to near Elma. This is pretty much right here, New Hampton. That's not in our viewing area, so that's around the time we're going to probably just continue coverage, at least constant coverage with these storms, and it really doesn't look like there's going to be much going on behind this other than some light rain, maybe some occasional moderate rain, maybe a few low-end thunderstorms, but again, a lot of the energy is being used up by these storms as they pass through the area. Just given what we're looking at right now, things are starting to calm down as they move off to the east, and even some of those severe warning storms that move through southeastern Minnesota, those have completely fizzled out for the most part across western Wisconsin and northeastern Iowa. This is the main area that we're watching. This is beginning to move out of the area. Charles City, you're seeing the heaviest rain right now. Osage is seeing the heaviest rain right now as well, maybe even up to St. Ansgar, but Riceville, Alta Vista, these areas, it looks like the heaviest wind is probably going to pass just to your south. So within the next, probably coming up here within the next 5 minutes, we're probably going to wrap things up, have things pretty well covered at this point. Things are remaining fairly static as these storms pass through. They're maintaining their intensity. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:30 for portions of, or all of Floyd County, Mitchell and Howard counties. 60-mile-per-hour winds are the main concern. Hail up to quarter size. These are radar indicated, so I don't believe we, at least the last I checked, we haven't had any wind reports from any new wind reports anyway across northern Iowa, at least as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any wind reports other than the 64-mile-per-hour report in Clear Lake that occurred within about the last hour or so. I'm seeing reports out of southeast Minnesota. Apparently Fillmore County got hit pretty hard, multiple trees down across the county, including a tree in Rushford, which damaged the roof of a house. Also numerous trees down in the Fountain area as well. So just seeing some sporadic damage here and there across our area with some trees down. But of course, once we get into the daylight hours, maybe some of that, we'll start to see a little bit more of that with these strong winds that did pass through. But in the meantime, just looking at, again, a severe thunderstorm warning for Howard, Mitchell, and Floyd counties until 1:30, as we're looking at winds of around 60 or so miles per hour.
Yeah, and that's what we're warned for. Radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds. We can only assume we're seeing some pretty strong gusts there as well right now. But here's the good news. It looks like the bulk of the heaviest rain and likely the heaviest wind is now moving just east of Charles City. Osage, you guys are avoiding the heaviest wind at last check of velocity. We'll want to look at velocity just one more time here before we go. It looks like Charles City, it looks like the bulk, if we look at things here, maybe still some heavier wind gusts near Floyd and Charles City, knocking on the door of US Highway 218, just north of US Highway 18 here. Maybe some stronger gusts, but again, I'd say we're a decent ways away from the radar at this point. So it's, there's no guarantees that's reaching down to the surface, but the potential is certainly there. The heaviest rain, though, is now beginning to move east of Charles City. So it looks like we're starting to see things, for the most part, across the far southeastern corner of our viewing area start to wind down. That's good news. We've been on for a while. We've been watching these storms for a while. I don't think there's really anything to add more at this point. Things are looking like they're pretty much going to remain static. Again, for folks who are still watching down in Floyd and Howard County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:30. It looks like things are going to be pretty much, again, static. 60-mile-per-hour winds are the main concern. We're going to hop off air here. We've been on for a while. We're going to give our voices a rest. Brandon still has the morning show that he's got to start getting ready for. So at this point, we're probably going to step aside and we're just going to let this storm pass through. For everybody who's out there, stay safe tonight. Hopefully you didn't have any too impactful damage affect you, and hopefully all those power outages can be restored quite quickly. And with that said, I think we're going to return to a regularly scheduled program. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.